There is a certain section of Muslims living in the country, I believe, who do have their loyalties towards Pakistan. And this film tries to tell them that this is not right and they shouldn't do that.
Anything happens, police function, this function, that function, first people, revenues are generated because we are there.
Some of the critics were very personal about my midlife crisis. Why am I doing this? I'm trying to prove a point. I just want to tell them, go to hell.
And my capacity was this much. I tried to go this much. And that's how I ended up in this problem.
I recently went into a rabbit hole of old interviews of some of the most popular stars from Bollywood. This is a direct reaction to sitting through probably the most underwhelming episodes of Coffee with Karan this season. I don't know whether I am the minority in the case of being a regular viewers of this IP, but there has been such a drastic deterioration in the quality of conversations with guests versus what was once a cheerful, fun and especially well-conducted talk show. There was this abandon with which celebrities spoke not only on the talk show but every interview that was conducted with them. This is the era in which known personalities would simply communicate what they felt about other creators and even the social and political scenario of the country. This seems to be absolutely absent in the current environment, and one wonders what is the precise reason, other than Sandeep Reddy Vanga and RGV, why don't interviews track that well? Is it the case of boring personalities or simply actors not wanting to lay their heart bare and be vulnerable and truthful in interviews due to the micro scanner under which they are placed, judged and ridiculed on social media and various traditional forms of media? I must say, just on a completely side note, I cannot defend the stale Aditya Roy Kapoor episode in any way. I dare you to even sit through his GQ interview and not snooze at the sheer boredom that sets in so fast. I was thinking about the moments of outrage that has consumed social media platforms, with a generation of actors that were launched in the 2010s. You look at the case of Alia Bhatt fumbling on who is the President of India on Coffee with Karan, and how that became an ongoing joke for years and was a representation of how ill-informed actors were in the country. There was not a single event in which the actor would not be mocked for her lack of general knowledge. You look at the case of Ananya Pandey and her unintentional emotional declaration of her struggle because Chunky Pandey was not invited to Coffee with Karan, and how tone deaf it sounded when you look at the grand scheme of things. Ananya's struggle was the joke that would often be associated with all her appearances. The clapback by Siddhant, while accurate as hell, compounded the trolling furthermore. A Ranbir Kapoor talking about eating beef during his university days and it becomes a cancelable act. Something that is anti-national for a few. Hell, leave that aside. The man just says Jai Mata Di at the comfort of his home during a Christmas party and an FIR is filed against him for hurting religious sentiments. So one wonders, is it really worth it for celebrities to be unabashedly honest in the current environment where everyone is ready with their pitchforks to drag and cancel you? The moment there is even a slight slip of fumbling of words or intention, is it less to do with the personalities and more to do with the current environment we live in? I was thinking about the level of criticism someone like Sanjay Dutt would be subjected to if he was launched in the current landscape. Imagine an actor who has an image of a wild child ever since his debut, and he lives up to that aura as the years pass by. Not only does he get embroiled in several controversies that were of national interest, but never shied away from calling out malpractices within the industry.
He just slapped the journalist. I would have killed him if I was in his place. And if he slapped him, I'm always with him. And if he needs me to break their bones, I'll do.
If you are ever interested in seeing a riveting documentary in English, I would recommend you see the BBC documentary on Sanjay Dutt's struggle with drug abuse, alcohol and law, titled To Hell and Back, where the actor very candidly speaks about how addiction took over his life and almost ended it. One considered him to be a loose cannon but appreciated him opening up about the ugliest chapters of his life.
We all buzzed, all the time. Oh.
This vulnerability makes me ponder over Deepika Padukone and her attempt to open up about mental health and the lack of education in this country. The amount she is trolled for the same, exactly reflective about the lack of awareness about this topic, is so unwarranted. If there is one actor who you can really go through the rabbit hole of interviews and never get bored, is that of Salman Khan. This man just did not fear anyone or anything. There is this energy and unapologetic attitude to Salman's interviews which will honestly make you a fan of his tenacity and fearlessness. Yes, of course, there are several interactions about his cases which have polarizing opinions, but when it's regarding celebrities and their intended purpose in the nation, he really stands out as a man of clarity. His rant about the state of film awards was something that was spoken about even before the saturation of the functions that exist today.
स्टार्स के इंटरव्यू पे ये मैगजीन चल रही है, वही आपको बुलाते हैं और बोलते हैं कि भाई ये गोइंग टू गिव यू एन अवार्ड, यू कम एंड परफॉर्म दिस दैट ये एंड देन दे सेल इट टू पान पराग और मानिक चंद whatever, and we are like idiots sitting down there and suit पहन के बैठे हैं और अवार्ड ले रहे हैं.
His conflict with Vivek Oberoi and Shah Rukh Khan would generate genuine and honest reactions from him.
Suddenly Vivek Oberoi came and said sorry to you. You're not, but you said you don't care about that.
You know, doing this on press in front of everybody, all that stuff, it's all, you want to act on screen.
If you ever get the time, you should see his marketing run during the promotions of Jai Ho, where celebrities were trolled for performing in Saifai while there was Hindu-Muslim conflict in the region. And the way he gave it back to the selective outrage of the media against the film industry is something to marvel at.
I'm an actor. अब मैं उस पैसों को जलाऊं, फाड़ूं, नाच में उड़ा दूं, गरीबों में बांटूं. That is my thing. I've paid my taxes. I can do whatever I want to do with that money.
It makes me think, does anyone really have the balls to be this fearless when the chips are down and an industry or an individual are cornered? I remember when there were acting feuds too. One would simply state what they felt about the actor. This is of course the time where PR of various actors were at their infancy. So the machinery to control narratives was also limited to magazines, whose dissemination was not as rapid and quick as it is today. I vividly remember when Amir Khan flippantly talked about naming his dog SRK and how Shah Rukh Khan mostly creates his aura through PR, and this generated a blunt, honest and clear reaction from Shah Rukh himself.
Sometimes certain things he says or somebody else says, I don't like it. Yeah, I'm very serious about that. And I'll have a chat with him about that. I won't say it now, otherwise you'll think I'm picking on him. I'll pick on him personally, I'll talk with him.
There was no case of speculation, no manipulation, but a blunt reply to an accusation or statement. Something that is more and more of a rarity today, as active PR agencies of actors actually execute strategies in direct competition with one another, sometimes even without the knowledge of the actors they are representing. I was thinking about some of my favorite interviews of the film industry that actually provides a deep dive into the lives of actors, and I could only think of Jeena Isi Ka Naam Hai, hosted by the late Farooq Sheikh, and Rendezvous with Simi Garewal, where the insight into the personal lives of actors never seemed invasive. They were never cross-questioned in a crass manner like today about their sex lives, and most of the conversations allowed for the celebrities to organically open up. You've got instances like Raveena Tandon expressing about getting left at the altar, Mahesh Bhatt talking about his struggle with drug addiction, Amitabh Bachchan and Jaya Bachchan really being raw about their relationship and their dynamic together, and someone like Preeti Zinta opening up about feeling alone when she spoke against the underworld. Topics and opinions that seem to be a distant past. In terms of the themes that can be explored in conversations with actors, I think someone who only comes close to this is Mayank Shekhar from midday.com, who really does explore the personal and professional with actors today with his show Sit with Hit List. Even the older generation actors believe that there is way more scrutiny today versus in their era.
But we've done wild things in our youth. Everybody does. At that time, things were very lenient also. So, I've been including the law and including the media.
Yeah.
Things were very, very quite lenient.
Yeah.
Very forgiving. It's not anymore.
Yeah.
Leading to a catch-22 situation for most actors. Do you become vulnerable and honest with the risk of becoming a national topic that essentially becomes a PR nightmare? Or do you stay coy and politically correct? Criticized for being a flower pot or boring in interviews, but at least you're not in the scanner of being massively trolled. I think it is way more complicated than one would like to believe. So while we would want celebrities in the current environment to talk about the political framework of the country, the social problems that we face today, and the problems that are within the industry openly, you know very well the pain that they might have to endure as articles, reel edits, FIRs and think pieces are posted for weeks about their one statement. Something that they never intended anyway to be such a big deal. And that was a video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you think is the reason why Bollywood interviews in general are so boring today and why they can't replicate the unabashed nature of the 90s. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.